Excuse me, sir, but can I have a moment of your time? I wanted to ask you a few questions.
I'm pretty busy right now. Can it wait? I have some place to be in 2 hours.
Sir, I'll be quick about it. I have some concerns about what I have heard you say on the topic of climate change. I just want to make certain that is where you stand in the face of such an important issue we all face.
You see where I stand right now, don't you? Oh, I guess I can spare a few minutes. What about it?
You seem to be flopping in the wind on such an important issue that not only you and I face, but if you have grandchildren, they are really going to face the results of climate change more so than you or I. I just think that not getting to the root cause of climate change by avoiding the human cause or variable is just running from the reality, sir.
There is no way to tell if humans are the cause of climate change. Just ask my buddies in the big oil companies. They tell me that there is no way to tell who is causing climate change and no one's to blame, especially not them.
And you believe these men who are directly contributing to the cause of climate change, sir? Seriously, you need some better advisors on the science, as you and your buddies seem to be trying to skip town after setting fire to town hall to remain blameless.
You can't blame people for making money hand over fist as money talks and bullshit walks, young man. My buddies in the big oil companies know what they are talking about as they invest so much money in me and my other friends in the Republican Party. No one who pays that much bribe money could be all that bad. I mean, boys will be boys.
Think of it this way, sir. Think about terraforming Mars. It's going to take understanding how to affect the climate in a positive manner, either to heat Mars or cool it down so that human life might be able to one day occupy the planet. Meanwhile, back here you guys are ignoring the science we need in order to survive out in space. Especially in this solar system, there are no other habitable planets like Earth. In order to move outward, we have to learn how to affect our environment to suit our needs if we wish to establish planets in the future.
Everything is fine here. I haven't noticed any changes in the environment. Why are you so alarmed?
You are but a frog in slowly boiling water. You won't notice your demise because you're ignoring your environment. Personally, I have noticed the changes in the environment from when I was younger to the way things are currently. The seasons are fluctuating. Summer seems to be growing longer and spring and fall seem to be but a month now where they used to be spread out over months. It used to snow more in October. Back where I'm from now, we barely see a flake of snow.
That can't be all that bad. Winter sucks anyway. Bring on year-round summer, I say. We all want to live in Florida, don't we? Climate change could be a positive thing, don't you think?
If you want to live underwater, ask Venus how the runaway greenhouse effect is working out for the planet. That could be us next in line. There's some who think Venus could have been Earth's twin at one point in this solar system. Then something went horribly wrong and they all busted. Now we're left with Earth and Mars in order to survive in this solar system, as cooling down Venus will take several comets hitting it in order to cool the atmosphere. We currently don't have the capability of comet towing quite yet, so Mars will have to do for now. It is also about being the habitable zone of a star as well, which does change over a star's lifetime depending on its age and expansion. Don't want to stand too close to the fire when it gets hotter. If climate change is due to solar activity, it is still no means to say there is nothing that can be done, as we have to adapt in order to maintain habitability in the zone regardless, which means paying attention to the climate and making adjustments as necessary or required.
There is no way humans can change the environment. Look at me, I'm full of gas all the time. I'm sure if I brake when nothing happens to the environment.
That depends on who you're asking in the elevator with you. From your perspective, you're probably used to being full of hot air and gas that you don't notice your own stench filling the room, but others do. And yes, that is how you can affect the environment and cause climate change on a very small scale. Now just look at the big picture. Humans affect their environment every day, even more so now with the use of fossil fuels and releasing carbon emissions from several sources on a large scale. What is happening is the same as what happens when you fart on an elevator, sir, except it is happening round the clock and all over the world. We have to stop using antiquated technology that relies on oil and other fossil fuels and reduce our total carbon emissions tenfold. It can be done if we update our infrastructure as well as transportation and power supply to technology ready to go, as long as it is applied everywhere and not being held back by those who wish to keep the fossil fuel pipe dream flowing into next century.
I sure love the fossil fuel pipe dream. Me and my Republican buddies like to think of it as more a wet dream. We can make so much dough if we just ignore climate change. Don't you think that's a great idea, making money? And who cares, we won't be around to see things go to shit. We will be dead, but at least we'll be rich and in heaven, where every Republican gets a mansion and Fox News is on 24/7 playing the glory days of the Republican Party from Nixon on.
Your idea of a dream, sir, is turning into a real nightmare for everyone paying attention to the train wreck that is climate change. You guys are attached at the hip with those who are blinding you to real survival issues we all face. You may be old, sir, and you may not see the worst results of your ignorance, at least this lifetime, but you very well may be handing yourself a quagmire down the road if reincarnation happens to be the way things really go in the universe.
I said I'll be busy with my Republican buddies in heaven, because that's what I believe in, and everyone else should too. Because if you ain't like us, you ain't right-wing, as we like to say in the Republican Party.
Belief is for the fools who are unwilling to understand the reality of what exists through investigation and inquiry. Sure, if you want to read an ancient book that was written by men who weren't necessarily inspired by the heavens above, if you want to invest your future in the end of the world, you sure are going to get your return. For me, I would rather invest in a future one that takes me where I want to go, rather than get stuck between heaven and hell for eternity, ignoring the rest of the universal reality.
I would rather get stuck in hell than see the rest of the universe for eternity. I want to get all my living done here and now. Also, fuck, who cares what happens after I leave? I've been to church putting for some brownie points with God. Who the cares about what happens to his creation when I'm done with it?
Regardless of whether or not you believe a creator made this planet or not, nature needs to be studied and paid attention to so that you can learn to survive in it, whether it be for the one and done approach you take on life or the open road of the universe ahead that I do. Simply put, if you think that this is an expendable planet and that it needs no one to maintain it, after more than a century of carbon emissions and fossil fuel use, it's probably best you part ways with the planet after this life, so that the rest of us who wish to stick around in this universe can get to work on surviving and thriving, the way nature intended.
I don't think I like your tone. Are you threatening me, saying I should die, so you and the rest of those peddling climate change can get to work without me in the way? Maybe I'll stick around and mess up your plans for a future, as that would please me most. I get off on that, being the asshole in this world.
Oh, I am well aware of that. Well, it doesn't seem I'm going to get you to think on your position today, but just think of your grandkids' future. Even if you think you don't have to worry about your future, there's us definitely in the wake of disaster if we do nothing to change our climate. Weather will be a lot more chaotic when it really doesn't have to be if we learn how to stabilize our environment. Less disasters of epic proportion will occur. I just think you're being an irresponsible grandfather from your reckless approach to the subject. Rather than tackling the issue, you would rather prance around it, never going all in on it. I think that has more to do with the money being made than making the responsible decision when it comes to your grandkids' future. I guess you won't have much of a legacy, other than the shitty world you handed your progeny. Your motto is take more from the world and leave it with less than you came into it. Who cares two shits about everyone else? This is my life's crew. Everyone else. You could be handing yourself the shitty end of the stick in the future, you never know.
How did you hear about my personal motto? I haven't told anyone about it before.
I figured it wasn't hard to guess that's how you come off.
Well, now I'm gonna be late to be early at my next meeting with my buddies in the Republican Party. I won't take to heart anything you said to me, as I will drown out reason with some more Fox News after I'm done here. Trump. What a hell of a great disaster of a president, but I stand by my decision to vote for him no matter what. He is brilliant. To me, he can do no wrong. Thanks for wasting my time, young man. Now I will be going.
See you later, Oil's ass kisser. By the way, I think there's a bit of oil executive poop on your nose. You might want to make sure to wipe your face as well as your ass when you're in the bathroom next time.
Thanks for telling me I don't always get it all off after a meeting with Big Oil.